Welcome, friends. It's the 2 o'clock crafting show with your host, Meg from Farrington Nature Link. Got my hat on, got my apron on. I'm ready for painting. It's a beautiful day here. I'm in Saugus. We are live. The sun feels great. The sky is blue. Makes me happy to be outside. So this is part of our Nature at Home series. Today we are going to be making some nature paintbrushes, a little bit of technique about painting, and guess what? That's right, I have a book about painting. So, has anyone ever painted before? You probably used, let's see, maybe a paintbrush that looks like this or this with a really tiny, little tiny fine bristles at the end of it, and a little plastic handle there. Maybe you've used some of these like watercolors before, so it's just little pots of paint that you add water to. That's the type of paint we'll be using today. I like to use washable paints, especially if I'm not sure how my painting is going to turn out, and just in case it gets a little messy. If you're painting, I'd recommend rolling up your sleeves, putting on, I'm wearing my apron, but you can wear a smock as well, like a big shirt that might be too big for you, and put that over your clothes, or a fancy art apron if you have that. Again, if you need help, make sure to ask an adult. But painting is all about having fun. So first, I think we will assemble our nature paintbrushes. How are we going to do that, you ask? Let me show you. So I made a couple of these yesterday. And what I did was I took sticks, little twigs, and I tied with yarn little, this one has little juniper branches on it for parts of the bristles, and this one has pine needles on it. This smells like, it smells like pine needles. That's right, you guessed it. This one, ooh, this one is a little spiky. This one doesn't really smell like too much, but I like how they feel and I like the texture of them. What I think, these bristles look a little bit long for the painting that we're going to do today. So I have an idea of a different way to make nature paintbrushes. We need some sticks. All right, so here I have another twig. And it's okay if it has these little extra branches on it. You can always, if you find a bigger stick, you can always break off the other branches. And instead of tying the pine needles on, I was going to use a rubber band. But you can use a twist tie from maybe the groceries, or you can use a little piece of twine or string, anything that's going to be able to hold those little pine needles in place. So I'm going to use a rubber band. And we need some pine needles. So these are all materials that I collected when I was walking around yesterday. Oh, you know what? We can just borrow them from this one. Borrowing some pine needles. Okay. So what I'm going to do, so I don't want it just like right at the end. I'm going to put it a little bit further down like that. And then what I'm doing with the rubber band is I'm going around it, right where the little pine needles and the stick meet. We're going to wrap it a bunch of times. And again, if this is too tricky, feel free to get an adult to help you. All right, maybe one more. Excellent. All right. So our bristles are on our brush. Now these bristles look a little bit long, I think we might try it and see if we're able to paint with it, but I think we might have to snip the ends of it because you look at our other paintbrush. You see how short these bristles are compared to these? So let's try it. Let's see. So I have some water. So there's a little bit of water in here. So in order to activate these watercolors, I'm putting a little bit of water on my brush, and then I'm dipping it in the paint, stirring it in a little bit. And then we're going to paint little heart shape. So that was using this brush. Oop, that wants to roll. Okay, now let's try this paintbrush. We're going to dip the pine needles in the water. And then I think we try maybe this blue color. You might have to squish the pine needles down a little bit into the paint to make it work. All right, what do you think? Is this gonna work? Let's find out. So this is not working as well. There's a little bit of paint on there, but I don't have a lot of control because these bristles are really long. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these bristles so that they're a little bit shorter. So, get my scissors. I don't know if you want to see that. I'm just gonna cut, just like giving it a haircut. Ta-da! So now our brush is nice and short. So I wonder if we try again with the paint, we'll dip our bristles in the water, and maybe we'll try a different color and see if we're able to have a little bit more control as we're painting. Yeah, that's working better. Look at that! Got a nice little purple heart. Color it in. Beautiful. Now as you're watching, if you have a shape, an animal, a design that you would like us to try and paint today, let me know. I am what you call not a professional artist, but always happy to try. So that was a really cool brush we made. I have some other types of natural materials that I would love to try. So let's see. I'm going to get another stick. And for this stick, I think we try the juniper. So let's take a little piece of juniper here. And if you can see that, it's got one main stem and then it has all these other little branches off it. So again, I'm going to use the rubber band method. So let's grab another rubber band, maybe this little guy. All right, and so what I'm doing is I'm taking the branch and I'm putting it so there's a little bit of overlap between where the end of the stick is and where the bottom part of the little juniper branches. And then we're just gonna go around like this with our rubber band. Ooh, this is a very flexible rubber band. All right, maybe one more. All right, ta-da, so there's our paintbrush. Let's try and paint something. All right, so these are different kinds of bristles. I'm gonna put this in the water again and get the little bristles, the little leaves wet. And maybe we'll try painting something with this green color. Need a little bit more water there, I think. And so these watercolors, if you touch them and you haven't put water on them, they're dry. They're not going to get paint on your hands. But once you put some water on them, you'll see that you're going to get some paint on your hands. But it's washable, so it's okay. Don't eat it though. I don't think it'll taste good. All right, we have some green paint on, so maybe we try drawing a leaf here. I think we need a little bit more water, a little bit more paint in here maybe. And your designs might not come out exactly, whoop, a little piece fell off, come out exactly as you're envisioning it, but that's okay. That's the fun part of art, is that you are experimenting. You're trying different kinds of bristles, trying to make different designs. Okay, that works pretty well. I have one more type that I would like to try, and then I'll show you how to draw a really simple vine with some leaves on it, which is one of my favorite things to paint. So we need another stick. Dun, da, da, da. And this stick, I'm going to break off some of these little branches here. And I would like to use some of this. Check this out. Look at this cool kind of dried grass. You see all these little fluffy things? It's little seeds. Like confetti. And these seeds are flying way up high, and they're going to go far around the neighborhood and be able to land in other people's yards and parks and things. And that's how plants like these tend to spread. So I'm going to take a couple of these little branches, just a couple of these. I think I can hear Axel, our neighbor's dog, saying hello. All right, so we're going to take a couple of these. Ooh, it's fuzzy. And at the bottom part, I'm going to squeeze them together. And again, what I'm going to do is put them so that the bottom part is overlapping with this part of the stick. We need another rubber band. So I think these are working well. It is still a little windy out, and I can still hear the wind chimes, which is nice. All right, let's see. All right, so check it out. We made another nature paintbrush. Look at it, it's so fluffy. It looks like feathers almost. Smells kind of like oatmeal, but not like flavored oatmeal, just like plain oatmeal or cardboard, somewhere between cardboard and oatmeal. Achoo! Making me sneezy. Okay, so this looks like, I think I'm going to trim the ends of it a little bit as well. It's just flying away. Okay. All right, so now let's try putting this in some water. Now you don't need a lot of water for this. I'm only using a little bit. All right, let's see, what color should we try? Maybe this orangey yellow color. I don't think we've tried this one yet. Maybe try and draw a little sun. Ooh, this one works pretty well. Look at that. Some little pieces are going to come off, and that's okay. Beautiful. So those are 3 different nature paintbrushes that you can make. These look quite lovely. Thank you, brushes. And there are some other techniques as far as drawing or painting goes. You can try and do little dots. You can try and do crisscross. You don't have to try and do a shape. You can just do different designs and see how it looks. You can also try and paint over each of the colors. So if we have yellow down here and maybe we wanted to see what color we got if we put some blue over it maybe. Do you know what color we would get if we mixed yellow and blue? I don't know, let's find out. So we'll put a little bit of blue on here. It looks like it looks like the purple is just going right over the yellow. So I wonder if we can put some purple over there and then put some yellow on top of it and try and make another color. Ooh. Put a little bit more purple in there. And it's turning into sort of like a mossy green color. Cool.
Meg, I've got a question for you.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever tried to paint using like mushed up berries or anything like that?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. And I do have some berries that we can try. I have two natural items that we can try and paint it with. So, say you don't have any paints like these around, you can try and use stuff that you might find in your kitchen. Just taking a little detour of the porch there. We're back. It's a little windy. Sometimes the camera likes to go rogue. Okay. Sarah, I'm glad you asked about natural things that you could paint with. I brought out some spinach leaves, and I have, you know what this is? It's a blueberry. I also have some frozen blueberries, and I thought we could see the difference between what a frozen blueberry might look like and what a fresh blueberry would look like. Good thing I have my apron on. Okay, so first, I want to try using this spinach. Smells like a salad. I like eating spinach in my eggs in the morning. A little chorizo maybe, some cheese. I like putting spinach in my salad. Ooh, you know who also likes spinach? Eleanor the rabbit. Arugula, cilantro, those are her favorites, but she also likes spinach. All right, so if we kind of roll up one of these little spinach leaves, and I wonder if we can make some, oh yeah, look, the spinach is turning the paper green. That's pretty cool. And I didn't have to dip this in water. I didn't have to do anything special. I just kind of crumpled up the leaf, and I was able to get some green coloring on the paper. All right, the next one I want to try is a blueberry. So let's see. If we squeeze it, what do you think's gonna happen if we squeeze it? It's pretty juicy. What color is it gonna be on the paper? Blue, because it's a blueberry. That's a good guess. Let's find out. Squeeze it. Oh, interesting. So the fresh blueberry, this is what it looks like on the inside, the little fruit part. It's got some little seeds. It looks real squishy. And if we put it on the paper, it doesn't really make any kind of color. I'm gonna eat it. It's tasty though. All right, so next I want to try a frozen blueberry. And I think this is gonna make a little bit more of a pattern, a little bit more color on the paper. I think that's interesting that the berry that's been frozen makes a little bit more color. And I wonder why that is. I think the water that was inside the blueberry froze and is uh, a different type of, uh, how do you say? It's not liquidy, right? It's going to be a solid, so it's a different consistency in the inside. And I think also the skin, as it freezes and then is thawing out, starts to decompose a little bit, and the colors within the blueberries start to come out. Mmm, that tastes delicious. Great. And then if you get any blueberry guts on your hands, you can always just wash them off, wipe them on your apron. All right, I wanted to show you a little technique for drawing. So one of my favorite things to paint, and we'll use our regular paintbrush. We'll go back to this. A little bit of water, and we'll fix our paint. Sometimes when you're painting outside, the wind likes to pick everything up and toss it. That tricky wind. So I put rubber bands around my paper. So just something to be aware. All right, so we're gonna wash off our paintbrush here. Get it nice and clean. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of brown. And since this is the first time I'm using the brown in a while, sometimes it takes just a little bit extra water and things to make the brown come out. All right, so we're gonna start and make a little S like that, really thin, and that's gonna be our stem for our leaves. All right, we're gonna wash off the brown paint. If you have other paper, you can sort of dab off the extra water, or a paper towel. If you're using a smock and it's okay with your parental units, you can also dab it off on your apron there. All right, so now we're gonna do some leaves. What color are leaves usually? Some are yellow, some are orange. Yeah, in the fall, we're gonna do some nice, pretty green leaves because it's spring. These will be sort of like little green buds springing up on our little branch here. Have you seen buds on trees as you walk around your neighborhood or in your parks? I have. I know we have a lot of maple trees that are starting to have these big sort of yellowish green buds come out. So let's get some green on our brush. All right, ooh, that looks like a lot of green. That's okay. All right, and so I'm just gonna make some nice little green leaves. Just like that. And you can fill them in, or you can leave them open if you want. There's no exact science to this. You don't, maybe I'll leave a couple of these open. And I'm just kind of making these little arcs, these little half moon shapes, and then coloring some of this in. Maybe we'll add in a couple more little leaves here. Maybe we'll put some little baby leaves. Little happy baby leaves down here. And then so, one more set. One more set of leaves. You can see how much paint I'm using by how dark or light the colors come out. So when I'm using a lot of paint, it comes out darker. When I'm using more water and less paint, the leaves tend to come out a little bit lighter. Beautiful. Are there favorite things that you like to paint or color when you draw? Sometimes something that helps me is I will take a pencil and I might sketch out what I'm going to draw ahead of time. So say. I'm going to draw Ori. I might draw sort of the outline. He's got a little black head, feathers, black on his wing. And this just gives me a basic outline, a basic way to follow where I want to draw. And then maybe I'll add, let's see, what color was Ori again? He was an Oriole, orange and black, right? So I think this one was our orange. So we'll give him some orange. I think I'm going to leave that wing as black. So some orange. We'll have to show Ori this picture later and see if he likes it. All right, and let's see what else. Ori has some black on him. So we'll get a little bit of black paint. It's got, oh, this black came in a little bit gray. That's okay.
I really like to paint the ocean.
It startled me. I was so into my painting, I forgot anyone else was around.
I really like to paint the ocean with watercolors, Meg, to answer your question.
Oh, yes. Painting the ocean sounds very peaceful right now. Ah, check it out. Look at Ori. He looks great. All right. Well, I have one little book that I want to share with you before we run out of time here. Put some of these paints away. But there are all kinds of different natural materials. You could even try using materials that you find around the house. I think it'd be really neat to try maybe making a paintbrush with a little bit of yarn or string. Maybe trying to make a paintbrush out of a stick and just see how that works. Maybe you have an old t-shirt or an old sock, something like that, something made out of fabric that you can try and make into a paintbrush, an experiment. We used watercolors today, but there are also lots of other different types of paint, right? There's acrylic paint, there's paint you use for houses, outdoor paint, there's the puffy paint you put on t-shirts, all kinds of paint. So I'd recommend for any art craft activity using washable paint because you don't want your clothes or your nice hat to get stained with paint on it. So, and then also after you've painted, wash your hands so you don't walk around with like paint and blueberries all over you. Great. It's time for a book. It's about painting. This one's called Mouse Paint. Yee! By Ellen Stoll Walsh. You see the little mice on the front, the little paintbrushes. So cute. Mouse Paint. Once there were 3 white mice on a white piece of paper. The cat couldn't find them. One day, while the cat was sleeping, the mice saw 3 jars of paint. 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 blue. What are the mice gonna do? Ugh! They thought it was mouse paint. They climbed right in. And then 1 was red, 1 was yellow, and 1 was blue. Oh my gosh. Have you ever climbed into a jar of paint? It would have to be a really big jar of paint, but I don't think mom and dad would be very happy if you cover yourself in paint. They dripped puddles of paint onto the paper. The puddles looked like fun. The red mouse stepped into a yellow puddle. He did a little dance. His red feet stirred the yellow puddle until, wonder what happens. Look, he cried. Red feet in a yellow puddle make orange. Ooh. The yellow mouse hopped into a blue puddle. His feet mixed and stirred and stirred and mixed until look down, said the red mouse. Hello. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Try to refine. Oh, okay. There we are. There we are. I got lost for a second. Look down, said the red mouse and the blue mouse. Yellow feet in a blue puddle makes green. And then the blue mouse jumped into a red puddle. He splashed and mixed and danced until, what do red and blue make? Purple, they all shouted. Blue feet in a red puddle make purple. But the paint on their fur got sticky and stiff, so they washed themselves down to a nice, soft white. You see where they're taking a bath? They're washing themselves in the cat bowl. Those silly mice. And they painted the paper instead. They painted one part red and one part yellow and one part blue. They mixed red and yellow paint into an orange part, yellow and blue paint into a green part. Just take it off then. And blue and red to paint a purple part. But they left some white because of the cat. Isn't that a fun book? Mouse paint. I like it. So we'll check in, see if there are any other comments or questions about paint things or making crafts with natural materials. We will be back tomorrow with more fun nature from home activities, again at 11 o'clock and at 2 o'clock. We will, let's see what we're learning about tomorrow. I think it's wildflowers. I think we're going for a walk in the nature in Estabrook Park. Maybe the Codman Estate. That could be where we're going. Anyway, you'll have to tune in tomorrow and see where we end up. Again, my name is Meg from Farrington NatureLink. It's been a lot of fun crafting and painting with you today. And if you make something really cool, you can put it on our Facebook page, or you can send us an email, shoot us a picture, leave us a comment or question, and thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there, try to get outside and make some art. Okay, bye.